Yeah, I think a common theme was the fact that there's a lot of new technologies coming to the fore, a lot of innovations that could potentially change the paradigm of how glaucoma is going to be treated, how it's going to be diagnosed in as shorter windows in the next 5 to 10 years. The biggest innovation over the next 5 to 10 years might not necessarily be in the therapies themselves, which invariably are going to probably improve, but it's really going to be in the vast amount of data that doctors will have at their fingertips to guide them as to how to best use those therapies. So there was a lot of talk on the panel with regards to kind of new innovations in diagnostic devices, and you can think that with that and combine that with a lot of untapped potential with regards to the IRIS database, even some of the companies that are accumulating data outside of IRIS, like Verily, looking at some of the genetic data from 23andMe, and also development in a lot of artificial intelligence and deep learning systems to really kind of mine and make sense of that data, that you can quickly see that there'll be a potential one day where clinicians will have the data they need to really kind of personalize treatment for each glaucoma patient. So you can imagine that they can see a patient and say, okay, well, based off of your genetic makeup, certain classes of drugs, there's a high likelihood you're going to be a non-responder, so they're going to select other types of drugs to be used on those patients. And with better imaging and monitoring of those patients, be able to say, okay, well, the trabecular meshwork in your eye is not really functional, and so rather than experiment with trabecular meshwork MIGS, we're going to go and do a different type of surgery that will more likely work for you. And based off of race and other demographic input, we're going to increase the amount of anti-metabolites and whatnot, so that we maximize the opportunity that you're going to retain your vision. And I think again, with this new data set and the ability to really make the most use of it, I think a lot of doctors today already kind of make a lot of those choices in their head based off of the information that they have at hand. But for them to kind of really come up with what they believe to really be the optimal treatment for a patient, not based off of their own limited personal experience data set, or because AGS or WGA guidelines say so, but because there's a preponderance of evidence based off of big data saying that, hey, this is really the highest, the type of treatment that most likely will allow the patient to retain vision throughout the course of their life. I think that is something that's really exciting.